I had a weird experience relating to my anxiety while going to the GP, and I'd like to know what you think. So, I recently went to the doctor for the first time since I've moved home, and I didn't know what to expect. My last doctor was extremely understanding and considerate. He really took my concerns seriously and took the time to explain things clearly and make well thought out plans on what to do whenever I had a problem, whether it was anxiety related or not. Now, I'll be honest, most of my medical history is filled with anxiety related things, but should that change how I'm treated? So in a recent video, I talked about how my ectopics became really intense for the last few weeks. Now I know they're normal and they don't bother me anymore or scare me, but they were getting to the point of being extremely annoying, and the frequency and intensity was definitely increased. Now, I didn't act as soon as this happened because I wanted to wait and give myself a chance to see what happens rather than give in to the anxious thoughts. I've been through this process long enough now to know that just running to the doctor isn't going to help. Just running to seek reassurance isn't going to help. So I waited about 2 or 3 weeks and I didn't see any improvement, and I was definitely noticing a change. So I thought that this was a reasonable amount of time to wait before contacting a doctor. So what I did was I went on my NHS app and I just made a query. I didn't ask for an appointment because they have this system where if you have a concern, you leave a short description and someone will get back to you and let you know if you need to see anyone or not. So I described what was wrong, I waited, and then I got a text asking me to fill out a form as they needed more information. Okay, that's fine. I filled out this form, and after that was received, I was told that I should make an appointment. So I did. Now, I'm highlighting this sequence of events because I think it's important to show that I wasn't acting on anxiety. I let the GP decide whether I needed to be seen, and whatever they said, I would have agreed with. If they said I don't need to be seen, then I would have not been seen and just continued with my life. So let's jump ahead to my experience at the doctor. And let me know if this sounds strange to you. So I go in for my appointment, the doctor talks about my concern about the palpitations and immediately mentions my anxiety history. Now, I know I have a lot of anxiety history on my record, but this was a brand new GP, and as you all know, I've been a lot better and haven't had any major issues recently. So honestly, I was a bit surprised, like, why is that relevant right now? After that, she asked me, am I doing any exercise? And I said, I have been doing a little bit, but not much because I've been very busy. I did some kickboxing, but I haven't done it recently, just because I haven't. And she said I should keep doing that because it's good for my anxiety. Now, again, I didn't come to the appointment saying anything about anxiety. I said I was having some heart palpitations that were getting worse. Normal heart palpitations that just felt worse. And yeah, it's true. Exercise does help, but that just wasn't what I was there for. I just wanted to know if there was any concern with the change in my ectopic beats. But looking back, I think that maybe if I would have clarified right at the start by saying something like, I know my record shows a lot of anxiety, but I'm not feeling anxious about these ectopics, I'm just noticing a real change, then maybe that would have helped. It could have helped guide the doctor away from making these assumptions based on my medical record, but I don't know. So then the doctor asked about the ectopics. I explained that they're normal for me, I've had tests in the past, but recently they've just become more frequent and more powerful than normal, and it's just really annoying. So I wanted to check with what the doctor thought. And again, after what I thought was a reasonable amount of time to wait to see if it improves on its own. And it didn't. And this is the part that really bothered me. She again brought up my anxiety history. I confirmed, I said, yes, I dealt with high anxiety in the past. And then she said, are you taking any medication? And I said, no, I'm not. And she said, is that something you've considered? Have you spoken maybe about taking medication? And I was almost furious at this point. And here's why, because this annoyed me for a few reasons. And let me explain. So, number one, that just wasn't what I was there for. I didn't mention any anxiety. Anxiety wasn't the topic of discussion that I was there for. I wasn't coming from a place of unreasonable anxiety, in my opinion. And even if I was, why is medication the first port of call here? She didn't ask me about therapy. She didn't ask about other things I'm doing to help with my anxiety. She didn't even actually ask me how is my anxiety. She just assumed that because I came in talking about heart palpitations, that it must be because of my anxiety. If she would have asked, she would have learned that I'm doing very well compared to how I once was. Now, this one's a bit personal, and I haven't spoken about it much on this channel, but I have in fact tried about 3 different medications, and I had a very, very difficult time with them. I was on like a TV show about this, a documentary, but I won't talk about that in this video. I'm still actually wondering if I should ever go into detail on that topic, like talk about my full medication history. So let me know in the comments, and if this video gets 100 likes, I'll go into full detail about my whole medication experience and what happened to me. But just to clarify, I'm not anti-medication. I just had a bad experience, but I know many people who had amazing experiences with medication, and my advice is don't get advice from YouTube, social media, TikTok, anything about medication, or if anyone tells you try this medicine, try that. Just speak to your doctor. And I also want to add, it's not wrong for a doctor to ask about mental health or try to bring up treatment options, right? That's part of their job. But in this context, it felt like it was the only avenue she considered, rather than hearing how I'm actually doing today. A better approach could have been, to say, how's your anxiety level lately? What have you been doing to manage your stress levels? To kind of actually ask me how I'm feeling rather than jumping straight to a conclusion and straight to medication as a treatment option. Because again, there are other treatment options which, as far as I'm aware, should be considered first, such as therapy. I think the way that it's been described to me, and many therapists have told me, is that medication is usually there to help you better engage in therapy, not as a standalone option just to suppress your anxiety, Anyway, so in the end, the doctor said that she thought I was having ectopic beats or PVCs, which I already knew, and she referred me to do a 24-hour tape just to check if anything's changed since the last one. And that's fine. If she said I wouldn't have needed a tape, then I wouldn't have done a tape. I wasn't looking for reassurance. I just thought that I was making a reasonable decision because I was experiencing a lot of discomfort. And that's what people do when you're feeling discomfort or something with your body. You go to the doctor and see what they say if it's necessary for you to do anything. So I don't think this is the same as the days when I was going to the doctor all the time. I've been feeling my topics for a long time and I'm totally fine with them. It's just in these last couple of weeks, they had been worse and more intense. And yes, that can be anxiety, that can be stress. I haven't been particularly feeling anxious. I haven't been particularly feeling stressed, but there are a lot of major life changes happening at the moment, which it could be. And if she wanted to infer that or talk about that, then she could have asked that, is anything big going on? And to be fair, she did ask me, has anything changed recently? But that was after all the other stuff. All I'm saying is, in my opinion, this could have been handled a lot better. But what I really want is your opinion. Am I overreacting? Am I just being really anxious and I shouldn't have even went to the doctor? Is she right to just suggest medication on literally our first ever meeting? I don't know. But in the end, I was happy with the result. That's fine. I'll do a 24-hour test. I'm sure it's fine. But yeah, I felt discomfort. So let's see. Overall, I still feel like the past history of my anxiety was taken into account far too much without actually getting a picture from me of how it is today. And it makes me wonder if she took me seriously or just saw me as a burden who was wasting her time because of, I'm an anxiety patient. And it's just some things felt a little bit inappropriate considering the nature of why I was there in the first place. And even if I was making an unnecessary visit based on anxiety, I still think the way she handled that didn't make me feel listened to. It didn't make me, it made me feel dismissed. And I don't think that would help someone who was experiencing high anxiety or make them want to open up or just make them feel safe in that moment. I think that feeling heard can make a huge difference. When a doctor truly listens, even if they, decide it's just anxiety, you at least walking away feel like your concerns mattered. When they listen to you and talk about the concerns that you're having, right? So if you're watching and if you've dealt with this, please let me know in the comments. A quick tip that you could do is, what I should have done as well, is make some bullet points before your appointment. So list the current symptoms you're having and clarify how you're doing overall, including mental health, especially if you have a past record of anxiety. So you just get ahead of them with that sense. But otherwise, I just want to hear what you think. So let me know.